Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at 7 quick game reviews. 7 different games from, well, all over the place, from all over the world, and interestingly enough, usually in one of these 7 quick game reviews, I'm trashing some games. Well, I'm sorry folks who like drama, no trashing. All these games are good or okay, at least. In no particular order, well, I guess no particular order, we'll start with size. Here we go. Order of Invention. What Will You Wager came first. Order of Invention, which has artwork, which reminds me of the old comic Herman. But in this game, you are putting there's some cards out there. You have to decide what things were invented first before everybody else. If this sounds similar, well, that's because it is very similar to a game called Timeline. But this, you can bet on answers. Let's take a look. You're going to have a whole deck of cards here, and at the beginning of the game, you'll place 3 of them face up next to the deck. And what you're trying to do now is you are trying to, with your 4 chips, and everyone, there's a whole pile of chips for all the different players, you're going to place them on which one you think is first, second, third, or fourth. So which one of these do I think was first? I actually wonder that the sunglasses came after the electric razor. Maybe I'm wrong. And then probably the jet engine, and then LED. So I'm putting my chips down. I'm putting them down 1 through 4. These are all going to be revealed. So the electric razor was 1928, 1930, 1962, and sunglasses, 1929. Wow. Okay. Wow. So I get a point for each of these because I first, second, third, fourth. You're even allowed to put 2 on the same one if you want to kind of hedge your bets. So when these are done, everyone's going to get their points. We take our chips back. This one stays blue side up so we can see it, and now we bet again. Except this time, maybe I think the aerosol spray can, the patent for that was definitely last. I can bet some of the chips I want on it where I'm going to double my money, so to speak. So if I win this bet, I'll get 4. Are you wondering if there's enough tokens in the game? Oh my word, I mathed it out, and I don't care if you bet the highest on every single one every time over the course of the game, there's still more tokens than any human would ever need. There's only 5 rounds. And you can see there's all kinds of things in here with silly art, super glue, garbage bags. It all uses kind of the same people to do these, spandex, bubble wrap, and so on. Anyway, after 5 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. I don't dislike Order of Inventions, but I'm only giving it a 6. First of all, the betting part and every part of it, I like the cards. I like the big cards. I think they're interesting to put them out there and guess who's going to go first and second, you know, which one came first, second, third, and fourth, and with one of them revealed each turn. That's a little interesting. Betting your money on it, though, is just not that interesting. There's some ideas on it, but the fact of the matter is, it's hard for me to recommend this higher than a 6. It's fine. If someone gives this to you as a gift, play it. But why would you pick this over the better game Timeline, which is almost the same thing and is cleaner and faster to play? You might say, but I like betting. Well, then this one might be a better choice for you. But honestly, other than, and the cards are humongous in this one, almost too big, right? Almost too big. But it sounds like I'm negative. I still like the idea of being able to put things in order by dates. And so I find it interesting. That's Order of Invention. Zag. I'll tell you right up front, Zag is a game I like, but I bet most people won't. Why? Because your eyes are already going zigzag probably from looking at this. And that's the game. I'll show you. In Zag, each player gets a board. And by the way, these boards are wooden boards. They're really nice boards. So each player is going to have a board. So let's say I'm the yellow player. And you're going to get some pieces here. You'll see there's stripes on each side. And there's different variations. So if you play the easy mode, you're going to get it will tell you what 2 shapes to use. And you're going to have to figure out where on here these shapes go to make this pattern. So rather than look foolish, I have practiced ahead of time to make this one, and it goes a little like this. See how that makes that pattern? By putting these 2 blocks here. Now, when you look at this on camera, you know, all you gotta do is shift it, and it's suddenly a very different pattern than here. And these purple ones are simple because they tell you what you're going to need. But once you get to the orange ones here, you basically have all your tiles and you can use either side. And then there's a certain amount of points on them. And you can play this solo, where you're just trying to figure these out, or you can try to be someone quickly to see who can do it. There's no solutions here included with the game. There might be online. There is a little deck of cards here, like for a tutorial that goes through, and on the back of those, it does give you the solution. So that's that. You're going to have these boards. Your eyes are going to cross as you try to form these different shapes by placing the blocks down like this. Woo, that's zag. I like the components. I like it as a puzzle. For me, it's pretty good, but I have to give this just a 6.5. Why am I giving it just shy of a 7? Because I can barely get anyone to play this with me. And even for me, it's a really interesting puzzle, but after a while, my eyes are crossing and I'm like, oh man, because this is hard. It's really hard. It looks easy. And I will say, once you start understanding how those tiles fit, it gets a little better, but these are some interesting puzzles. I like the component quality. I give it bonus points for being unique. So that's zag. Next Station Tokyo is a sequel to Next Station London. It is a flip and write game, a game where you're flipping cards and drawing subway maps out. And yes, this one is, well, if you like Next Station London, you're going to like this because it's very similar. There's some rule changes. Let's take a look. In this game, you're drawing 4 subway lines. There's actually a 5th subway line. It's already drawn on the map here, this green loop subway line. But you'll have 4 other ones, and there's 4 different colors, purple, blue, pink, and brown. So players will start with one of these. You'll draw that line, and then you'll pass the pencil and take a different line, and you're going to do that 4 times. After you draw each line, you'll score for that line, and then you'll do some endgame scoring. The way a round works is you'll turn over the top card of the deck. So let's say I'm doing the brown line. This means attached to a pentagon station. The brown line starts here, and I can draw over here. That's really my only option. But as time goes by, let's say the next one here is a triangle. I can extend it up here. I could go down here. Oh, actually, that was my only option there. I could have started there. I missed that. Well, anyway, I'll just extend it up like this. And you're just going to keep drawing the line. You can't branch off it unless you draw one of these branching cards. Some cards are green, and the reason for that is there are 5 green cards. When the 5th one comes up, you're done. Also, some cards are going to let you go to any station you want. This one also lets you go branch too. Once you're done, you're going to count the number of sectors. Now, it's really hard to see here on camera, and it's actually really hard in real life. This thing is split into sectors with a very yellow thin line, and I really actually dislike that. That yellow line should be easier to see. In fact, there's just too much yellow on the sheet in general. But you'll see how many sectors you've gone through, and you'll multiply that by the number of stations, the most stations in one of the sectors. So if you went through 4 stations in one sector and you went through 3 sectors, it'd be 4 times 3, you'd get 12 points. If, starting with round 2, you make another one, let's say pink comes over here and connects to this, we now have a station that's a transfer station, and that's in this section here, so I would color this section in to get 5 points at the end of the game. And if you can make stations that have 3, 4, or even all 5 colors, which would include green, you'll get bonus points for those stations. All 5 colors gives you a 30-point bonus, but it's really hard to do. And then finally, you'll lose points for each of the stations inside the green loop, 3 points for each one that you didn't connect at the end of the game. This is what a finish game looks like here. So you can see the pink line, the brown line, the purple line, the green line, and the blue line. And so here, there's a 4 connection station that gives 15 points. You see we got some transferal stations here on the bottom. 4 stations in the loop weren't gotten. And then the scores for all 4 lines. You add all that together, and this is a final score of 97, which is not as good as this score of 121. But you can score, and everything's going to change also based on when these cards come out. There's also a few modules with this game where you can play with special stations or goals that everyone is trying to get. And that's how you play. Next Station Tokyo, I'm giving an 8 because I really enjoy this game. There is one negative, which is, I already mentioned, which is the yellow. I found that yellow very difficult to see in most lighting. Other than that, though, I like the idea of drawing the subway lines. I like the stuff. Now, some of the extra little bonus modules, by the way, can be used in London. And I'm not convinced you need to own both. I mean, they're very similar. This one I like a little better game-wise because I like the little circle that it has in the middle. I also like, not the rules. This is another thing I'm not a big fan of. Stop making your rules look like a map. But they give you a ton of sheets in this game. Now, I always laminate my stuff anyway when I play it, but that's pretty neat. So if you'd like, again, like I said, if you like Next Station London, you're going to play. If you never heard of that one, this one's fun because you're just drawing that subway line, and when you're done, you actually have what looks to be like a functioning subway map. It looks pretty cool. And, you know, you have only a few choices, but you're also trying to figure out, do I want to hit those stations in the middle because I don't want to lose points? Am I trying to connect stations together to get those bonus points? Or am I going to take each subway line and try to score as many points by hitting as many things? Or did I just go to a wrong spot and corner myself in with this line? So, very interesting idea. I expect we'll see more in this series as time goes by. And like I said, I don't know why you would need to own all of them, but it's still a neat game. Definitely one to check out. Dixit Disney Edition. Folks, Dixit, very popular game. We know so because it tells us there's been 12 million sold. Here it's done Disney style. Now that's kind of like slapping Disney on something, huh? Well, let's check it out anyway. I want to point out the really nice insert here that holds all the different pieces for the game. These are really nice score markers here with a front and a back of the different characters. And then we have these, which are going to keep track of your choices. Let me quick show you how the game plays. The rule book already tells you, if you already know the rules of Dixit, nothing changes. And then it says you can use Disney references. Huh, that never occurred to me. Anyway, everyone's going to have a handful of cards that are inspired by Disney movies, and on your turn, you are going to play one of those cards face down, and you're going to give a clue about this card. And maybe this one I would say, worry. Okay, because of the song, Why Should I Worry? But that would be my card. Then everyone else is going to pick a card from their hand and play those cards that they think matches my clue. And so then the cards are shuffled. They're going to be put face down around the board next to each of these numbers. The cards are then revealed. Everyone's going to look at those cards, and then you are going to vote on the card that you think is worry. Once everyone is done voting, the correct answer is revealed. Now, if everybody gets the correct answer or nobody gets the correct answer, then players are going to, the person who gave the clue is not going to get points. Everyone else is going to get points instead. They will get 2 points as shown down here. If some people get the answer, but not all of them, the storyteller gets 3 points. Everyone who voted for the correct answer gets 3 points. And also, no matter what happens, if anyone votes for your card, you get a bonus point if you're not the storyteller. And that's the game. You're just going to keep going until someone gets here to 30. That person is the winner. You want to see some more cards? Because the cards are what makes the game. Folks, this is a marvelous marriage. I'm giving this an 8.5. This works so well. If you've never played Dixit before, it is one of my favorite party games. It works so well. The clues, you can be like, this clue makes me feel sad. Or you can get weird and be like, this clue reminds me of Larry. And everyone's like, wait, what? But this has the Disney thing to it, but the Disney cards are done so well. They're done in the style of normal Dixit cards, which means they look like someone drew them while under the influence. They're crazy and weird, and they fit perfectly with other Dixit cards. But they also have that Disney flavor to them. So you could be like, I just can't wait to be king when you have a Lion King card, but that makes it too obvious. So you have to try to figure it out. The only flaw I can see in this is if there's one person at the table who's like, I don't like Disney, I don't know nothing about Disney. Well, then you shouldn't play this game because everyone can everyone will score points all the time by just being like, Lion King. And they'll be like, well, maybe they'll get that one. But you could say something that's obvious to Disney fanatics, but not to everybody else. That being said, I think this works so well in mixing it with Dixit. Now, this box has room for more Disney expansions. Bring them. I want more. Whoever did the art in this one here, fantastic. This is a great production, and I'm really glad it exists. Maps of Misterra. You're going to a strange island. You're going to map it out. You have someone who is basically funding your journey, and they want to see certain things on this map. So you might map it out even if that's not the way the island looks. Here's how it plays. The main board is going to be put out in front of the players with some possible starting terrain. That's a starting terrain for 4 players. each player is going to get their own parchment here. This is how you map, and you'll orient it to the same way the board is facing you. Players are also going to get a couple cards here. These are scoring cards. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Now, when a player takes a turn, they're going to get 2 half days. Essentially, you get 2 turns in a row. And so first you move. So when you're off the board, you'll move onto the beach. And then you're going to place one of these cards. So these cards here that are in front of the board, these are called sketch cards. And you're going to place it adjacent to where you are. So since I'm standing here, I could place this card here, here, or here. Once a card is placed on your board, you can place more cards on top of it. You're allowed to overlap things. And as you move farther onto the board, you'll be able to place these tiles in different ways. Once you place a tile, you're then going to look at the main board. Now, where I place that tile, there's nothing. So I'm going to add some hazy land, a hazy mountain, a hazy swamp there. And those are not necessarily defined. But if later on someone plays, let's say later on, let's say it's me. It could be any player doing it, though. Let's say someone played this here. Okay. Well, first of all, there already is a jungle there, so nothing changes. This changes into the swamp. And that can't change for the rest of the game. Once something is turned over, it's fine. But if someone played, again, taking a look down here at my board, if I played this card here, what I would do is then come up here. This gets replaced by hazy jungle. This gets replaced, put a hazy jungle out. And we're going to keep going until the board is completely full and all the tiles are turned over, or till someone finishes their map. There's a couple special abilities. If you're on a mountain, you can see 2 spaces away for purposes of putting out your cards. If you move onto these areas, you can move again. If you're in a jungle spot, you can't explore. You can't put these out. You can simply just discard them. And if you're on water, you can discard some of these face-up cards, the parchment cards down here on the board, and get rid of them. Now, there's a couple other things that need to be noted. One, these cards aren't replaced in between turns. Up here on the board, you can, instead of putting out a tile, you can claim an area. You can do this 3 times per game. If you're in an area, and at the end of the game, you're going to get 2 points for each square of that area, as long as you're the only person in there. And you can only go to different areas. There's some rules about that. At the end of the game, you're going to look at your map here. So this gives you points for cards that are tiles that 2 are the same on your board, but also everything next to them is different. And then I'm going to get points for those. These points doesn't matter if your map matches the actual land, but you're also going to get points for matching the actual land, and you'll lose points for each area you don't cover. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So this game has some very interesting scoring because you want to match the map in the middle, but you also want to make your map that you're making so that your sponsor back home, the 2 cards that you have, score points. Such a weird combination. I really like that aspect of the game. That idea of, oh, here's the map. Oh, good, there's lots of mountains. It's exactly what we want it. And there's only like 5 mountains. So you have to balance out getting points for actually matching the map and then, getting points for the map you drew. I do feel like the Carcassonne style scoring where you claim an area for points, but if 2 people, you can't claim an area someone's in, but you can claim a different area, and if they meet, then you cancel points. That feels really shoehorned into this game. I was like, why? Why is that even here? And I also don't love the special abilities. The mountain's cool. See 2 spaces away. The one you move on to, you can move again. The water. And then the jungle, you can't do anything, which makes jungle kind of sucks, right? But it's one of the 4 things, and if you have a scoring card that's about getting jungle, I don't know. I get that jungle doesn't let you do that, but it feels like jungle should have some advantage then other than that. Either way, this one is an interesting game. I had a lot of fun with it, but I do feel like I've seen it all. Even though there's more scoring cards, there's something about it I don't want to keep coming back to it. So this one's a 6.5. It's close to what I'm looking for, but I just don't love it. So there's a lot of good ideas in here, and I think some people will enjoy it, and it has a neat theme and nice production, so keep all that in mind. That's Maps of Misterra. All right, let's take a look at a game from Brazil called The Sultan's Wishes. This is a game, and for some unknown reason, the Sultan's a dog. So his wishes are like a bone and food and stuff. But you are trying to fulfill the Sultan's wishes in a various number of ways. Here's how it plays. The game takes place over a series of rounds, and each round you're going to put 5 random cards here in the middle. These are the Sultan's moods. You'll turn one over here and see what the Sultan's mood is. This will add a card here to this pile, and also it's going to add some points if you fulfill the Sultan's simple wishes. So you'll turn over some simple wishes at the beginning of the game equal to the number of players. And this means the Sultan wants something here. He wants music, 7 hearts worth of music. And you need to fulfill these simple wishes. So what players are going to do, they're going to have a handful of cards from the deck. On your turn, you have 1 mandatory action and 1 optional action. A mandatory action can be playing a card to one of these simple wishes. Now these cards have 1 through 3 hearts, so I would just put this here. It's music, it matches, it's 3 hearts, and I'll put one of my color tokens on to show that it's mine. When this is completely full, when it gets filled, this is going to go away. We'll reveal a new one, and players will get points equal to the number of hearts in the cards that they have there, plus you get a bonus based on the Sultan's current mood at that point. Also, whenever you play a simple wish here, you get a gem from the Sultan as a reward for doing so. When all the simple wishes have been finished, we'll start revealing final wishes. These have some more weird requirements, but when one of those is finished, the game will end. You can also just play a card for a special ability on that card. So this one lets you buy something from the market if you want to, for a cheaper price here. This gives you a point and a gem. So you can just play the card. You can also add a card to this pile here. Or another option you can do is you can move to one of these spots. You move to one of these spots because at certain points in the game, this is going to be revealed. And you're going to see all the different tasks there. Whichever task has the most hearts, whoever is on that spot will get 6 points, then 4 points, then 2 points. It's a little bit of a guessing game, but you also can seed it with cards. And there are ways to look at some of the top cards and so on. Players also can buy merchant cards. There's 3 stacks of merchant cards with a cost at the top of them. You're buying these merchant cards because at the end of the game, each player has a card here that's going to give them points. Like I get 2 points and 1 point for buying cards from these merchants, 3, 2, and 1 for these types of goods, 3 if it's special goods, 5 if I have a set of all 3 times, and then -1 if I collect these things. So if I had this card, for example, she's going to give me 2 points. It's an apple, that's another 2 points. It's a rare apple, so that's going to give me 3 points. And it's a moon, so hopefully I get a sun and a full moon to fill that out. So at the end of the game, those will be revealed. You'll have collected points throughout the game. Whoever has the most points is the winner. I'm kind of torn on how I feel about this game. Now, realize that when I played it, there was a lot of translation involved. I don't think there's an English version of this, so there's a lot of cards we translated and stuff. So that may have something to do with it. But there's one big flaw to the game that I'm having a hard time getting over, and that is the cards themselves. I love the fact that cards can be used to go to one of the Sultan's wishes, to play it for a special action, to put it face down. Multiple ways to use cards. That's great. What I don't love is the hearts on the cards. They're 1 to 3 hearts, and it's always better to have 3 hearts. It just is. When you put the card face down, putting a 3 heart down means you know that's going to probably be one of the top 3. When you put 3 hearts in a Sultan's Wish, you know it's better. I just wish they had balanced it more. Like if you play 3 hearts, you don't get a gem. Maybe something like that. And if you play a 1 heart, you get 2 gems. Something to balance out the hearts. That's really my only problem with the game. Other than that, I like the Sultan's moods. They change, and he has a different rule in effect. Sometimes you can't do something. I like the idea of placing cards face down and revealing that hidden task, and everyone gets points for that. And that's a little bit of area control as you play along with the other stuff. And then buying the different merchant cards, you're saving up money to buy them because that's a lot of endgame scoring. It all kind of fits together in a neat way without things I've seen before. So I'm giving it a 7 because I like it. I just wish there was a house rule to deal with those hearts in the cards. That's my biggest flaw. It's what keeps me from giving it a much higher score, because I would have really liked it more. But other than that, I think this one's a fun one. We'll see if it gets an English edition, but for now, I'll be pleasing the dog by giving him lots of treats and walks and all kinds of sorts of things. That's the Sultan's Wishes. Now let's take a look at a game that's from the 70s. This guy's an old game. I did not know this, called Beat the 8 Ball. But there's a redone version from Blue Orange, and it's been making the rounds, and it's crazy, and you're watching balls spin, and oh my goodness, look at this. Here's how the game is set up. Each player has a little lever where if they just lift it up, it releases the ball and it's going to fall down. So what's going to happen is you'll play with up to 4 players, and one person's going to spin the 8 ball around in the funnel. Or you can drop it. It's up to each player how they want to drop it. So players are watching an 8 ball, and you want to beat the 8 ball, but you don't want to be too early because you get no points. But as it gets closer, players are getting nervous. So maybe green goes now, then blue, then red, then yellow. And everyone beat the 8 ball. And yellow is going to get 3 points, red 2 points, blue 1, and green 0, which you keep track of here. Here's the thing. If the 8 ball comes in and you come after the 8 ball, you lose points. I'd love to tell you there's more to the game than that, but that is the whole game. Now, it comes apart, which is always something I worry about in these games, pretty easily. And it fits in the, well, not great box. I wish the box had a lid. But yeah, that's how you play. This is a super fun game. Now, I'm giving it a 7. Why am I not giving it a higher score? Because there's a flaw in the scoring. The bottom scoring is 0. So there's no incentive for going first other than to not get negative points. It's like if you beat the 8 ball, but you're the only person to beat the 8 ball, everyone else gets negative points and you get 0. Now, yes, if someone gets a negative 10 points, they're eliminated from the game, and then whoever has the highest score at the end of the round, at the end of 3 rounds wins, or first person to 10 wins. So that kind of works out, but why not just make that worth 1 point? That gives me an incentive to go first, but I don't want to go first because I'd rather have 2. I would have made the scoring 1, 2, 3, 4, and I may cross it off on my board and just make it be that way. Because the negative is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, so why is the positive not that way? But other than that, this game is hilarious. You can spin that 8 ball, or you can throw it in there so it goes down very quickly. Everyone laughs. This is a game that's been played so many times by myself and by other people. I bring it everywhere. I'm putting it in Dice Tower Library because it's silly. I would love a version with 6 players and slightly improved scoring because that would be even better. But, well, this is what you get, and it's pretty inexpensive. So there you go. That's Beat the 8 Ball. And there you go, folks. That's 7 quick game reviews. Some interesting things, from subways to a dog Sultan to making a map to Disney Dixit. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, you can see all these videos by themselves in short videos on our Dice Tower Encore station. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower main station.